So on the issue of women, okay, one thing they've been doing, and I believe first and foremost, it is to harass me. Because there's two major things they could be doing. One, they know that I'm not going to go for it, and they're just harassing me with it, which seems to be their tactics. They try to make me offers they know I'm not going to take, things of this nature, just to harass me. The other is to try to remind me of these females who are infatuated with me that I do not find attractive, and hoping that I'll say, well, and look up their number or some bitch shit like that, or their contact name or whatever. Not going to happen. And I'll tell you why. Love, God is love, and the spiritual bottom feeders, they do things for materialism. They don't do things for morality or love. That's what they tend to have in common. So, when you look at having a passion for something, you have to have a passion for a person, or it's not a real, genuine, healthy relationship. And these people love knocking people's focuses off, making them, if you can get people to settle for other people, it's a way of putting them beneath you. Say you have a beautiful wife that, you're into, and the people you see that you think of as less than you, you've got them to settle for an unattractive woman, whether she's overweight, whether she's hideous, whatever, someone that they're not into, then you feel better than that person is. You're like, well, I have this gorgeous wife and this nice car and all this stuff. You ever heard this saying, trophy wife? It's kind of like that. It's this trophy that makes you feel good, why they've settled for something that's less, and something they don't really want. And you say, well, I'm so smart, I have this, that, and the other thing. There's a difference between fun, which is usually derived from artificial pleasure, and happiness, which is almost always derived from natural pleasure. Childbirth, making love, getting married, holding a loved one, being happy with, and so on, with what's going on with your family and, their accomplishments, being happy for them, so on. Okay, this is more of a natural pleasure. Artificial pleasure, buying a Porsche, it's fun. You might think, oh, this makes me happy, but you're fooling yourself. You're really just having pleasure. A lot of pleasure, it's a lot of fun. It's not true happiness. There's a difference with the effect on your brain, your soul, the chemical effect on your body. You can see a lot of these Cruella de Vil looking whores. They went through life having fun, going to nice restaurants, driving nice cars, what have you. And you can tell by the way they look. It's a result of a life of pettiness in exchange for fun, okay? As opposed to this sort of pure life of natural happiness where you see these people grow old. Like, you see this in underdeveloped countries. A lot of these people, they grow old, and and you might see the effects of struggle in their eyes, but you also see this natural happiness. And they've done studies where these poor countries are actually, their citizens are more happy than, the American citizens are. And American citizens probably have more fun than they do. But these people, well, that's up for debate, but these people are more happy than American citizens are. Okay, they're truly living life while Americans are in this artificial bubble having fun. So when it goes back to, being with somebody, would you rather do something that you're passionate about or that bores you to fucking death and makes you depressed? The same thing with a woman, or your significant other, your wife, your husband, you should be in love with them and passionately in love with them, a passionate relationship. So when you settle, you deprive yourself of that. You make the people in charge happy because they're like, oh, we have these, models and stuff, and we're feeling so good. Why you have this fucking, whatever, this unattractive woman, and you're also depriving yourself of natural happiness, and if you bring a child into the world, you're bringing a child into the world where, to a family where the father is not in love with the mother. So when one looks for a significant other, this passionate love is more important than even, will this mother be a good child? I mean, a good mother for my children. It's even more important than that, because the product of love will always be superior to the product of settlement or settling. Okay? A lot of people don't understand that. That's why I say, look, don't fucking settle. Don't do it. You know? Whether she's a whore and you're settling, whether she's unattractive, don't settle. You know, you will regret it. You will find yourself miserable growing old with a bitch that you don't want to be with, or fucking divorced with children, your children all fucked in the head as a result, you know? It's so important to bring them into a loving home. You can teach somebody who you're in love with, who loves you, how to raise a child later, you know, as you're doing it, what have you. But you can't learn to truly love somebody that you settled for. That is a misconception. It's a myth. You grow used to them, you grow attached to them, but love is something that starts from conception onwards. Okay, this idea that, well, you know, I got to know this person and then I fell in love. That's a shallow American concept. A very shallow American concept. You know, love is something that is in a realm that we do not understand. We do not get to know somebody in a realm that we do understand and magically connect to a realm that we do not understand. Okay, true love comes from the moment you come in contact with that person, you feel something that you cannot explain. In the absence of that, it's a level of settling. You might grow to be very, very fond of them, but it's not love. Most people don't understand love. Very few people have love. You know, I'll tell you like now, you know, for example, me, I'm capable of falling in love with a lot of women, but I only have one soulmate out there. Most of us, I believe, will never find our soulmate. Now, if you ask one of the spiritual bottom feeders, do they think a soulmate exists? No. Or they're corrupting the idea. It's a queer thinking that they're gay lovers, their soulmate, or some fag shit like that. You know? So, when you ask the spiritual bottom feeders, they tend to not believe in love. Satanists don't believe in love. You know, God is love. Atheists don't not always believe in love. They think that they're very worldly. They think of, you know, what's going to help me survive? What do I think is fair in the absence of a moral code? Okay? Now, some atheists consider themselves humanists, and so it complicates the subject, but for the most part, and the major effects of these movements and these ideologies is that there is a lack of morality and there's a lack of love. And where there is morality, it's a very shallow morality. These are very shallow people. Okay, when they're moral, it's not because they feel that God commands them. It's just like, well, this is what feels right, and we know I inherently feel that this is wrong to mistreat people, and it doesn't make me feel good. It's a very shallow morality, if it's there at all. So anyway, you know, in case you forgot the key fucking point of this video, don't settle. Passionate love, passionate romance, or nothing. Attraction that leads to, you know, a love, a romantic attraction, attraction derived from love, you know. And I'll tell you this, you can love somebody from the start and that love grows stronger. Now, there'll be people who are even Christians who want to argue with me. The same people who say, you know, where Jesus tells them to say, love one another, you know. Well, there's different ways to love one another. And when you start feeling an attraction, you know, that's deep enough for you to consider making this person your, you know, your lifelong companion, your, you know, your significant other, your husband or wife, that is actually a form of love, you know, and then it grows stronger. But the most powerful love is the love that many people think is associated with fairy tales or some bitch shit like that. And it is the love at first sight, the love at first contact. You know, when I was engaged, I first contacted my ex-fiancée on the internet, on webcam, instantly in love. Okay, now this is probably like a decade later, and I'm still not entirely over her. You know, that wasn't some kind of infatuation that fucking went away. That was love at first sight. It is real, you know. I'm gonna leave it there.